there are a few common mistakes that kill the reliability of a two-stroke dirt bike engine. That's why I want to share 3 simple, practical, yet critical tips so that your two-stroke dirt bike can last at least twice as long without having to do an engine rebuild. Mistake number 1 is warming up an engine too quickly. I see this so many times when I go to a trail ride or a race, or maybe just ride with a new acquaintance. They start up their two-stroke and they rev it up and it sounds really boggy, it sounds drowning out, and they keep revving it until they clear it out and get the engine fully warm. Well, this is doing a lot of harm to your engine. Yeah, you might be able to ride quicker, but what it's doing when you're warming it up quickly is the internal engine parts are heating up at different rates. The piston and then the cylinder around it, they're different materials, different thicknesses, so the piston is going to warm up faster than the cylinder. And that little bit of clearance that's needed so that the engine doesn't seize is going to shrink if you warm it up too quickly. So the piston is going to grow bigger and bigger, and it's essentially going to run into the cylinder so that there's little to no clearance, and it's going to cause excessive friction, which can cause scoring, which ends up with lower compression, and it eventually can seize the engine, which is commonly called a cold seize because you're warming a cold engine up too quickly. Mistake number 2 that can ruin the reliability of your two-stroke engine is using the wrong or too much oil in the fuel when you're riding at low and moderate RPM. I've seen so many people say, oh, more oil is always better and always use the best oil. But when people say best, what do they actually mean? Well, when you ask what is the best oil, a lot of people say like AMSOIL Dominator or Maxima 927 castor oil, which are great oils. Don't get me wrong. They're awesome if you're racing, riding at high RPM, you're riding at full throttle often. They will increase the reliability of your engine because they're providing enough lubricity and keeping the heat down. However, if you're trail riding, you're casually riding at lower to moderate RPM, which I do often in the woods, then using that racing oil or using like a 32:1 oil mix ratio is not necessary, and it's actually going to cause more maintenance for you because when the engine's at lower RPM, it's not producing as much heat and it can't burn that high performance oil or as much oil, so it's going to end up coating the spark plug, coating the power valves, coating the exhaust, the silencer packing. It's going to build up the carbon deposits, which over a longer period of time, it can cause the power valve to stick and the piston ring to gum up and stick, and it can seize, but more than likely it's just going to cause more frequent maintenance because all that oil is sticking to the top end and exhaust, and it's going to kill the power of your engine unless you take it apart and clean it all. Mistake number 3 that kills the reliability is over revving or staying in the same gear for too long when you're holding the throttle wide open. So if you're racing and you like to hear that engine sing and you're holding the throttle wide open at high RPM, but the power starts to drop, you're over revving it and killing the reliability because the higher the RPM, the faster the engine's spinning, the harder it's working, and the quicker it's going to wear out. And if you'd like to learn the 3 simple tips to make your two-stroke dirt bike last twice as long before needing a rebuild, you should check out this video right here. I'm Kelly Fager from MX Hideout. Ride safe, have fun.